Hello, teacher.
Hello there, Ariane. Will you please excuse me a second?
Of course.
Okay, thanks so much. So what we're going to be doing is working on task 4, the last one. So you know that you got the lecture, you need to summarize it, you got 2 topics there. And so that's it, you know. Okay, so where's the template? Not that one. Okay, here. So you have a short intro, the lecture's about this thing, and then you move on as quickly as possible to the 2 subtopics that you got. So to start, it talks about this one and then. Okay. Any questions before we start?
No, not really.
All right. So let's start.
To speak. Listen to part of a lecture in a marine biology class.
A lot of plants and animals live near the surface of the ocean, and that means there's a lot of food near the surface because there are lots of plants and animals to eat. But if you go down to the deepest parts of the ocean, it's cold and dark, and there's not a lot living down there, so food is very scarce. So organisms that live down at these great depths have developed special adaptations to help them survive in this environment where food is so hard to find. For example, many deep-sea organisms have body features that enable them to eat prey that are larger than themselves. A good example, there's a species of eel that has an enormous mouth and a large stomach that's capable of expanding. And these unusual features allow this eel to eat prey larger than itself. That's a big advantage, because if the eel eats something big, that's a lot of food, a lot of nutrition. So the eel can go for quite a while before it has to find food again. Another helpful adaptation in some deep-sea organisms is the ability to generate light. And some organisms use that light to help them capture food. For example, there's a kind of fish called the anglerfish, and on its head, this fish has a little structure that produces light, that glows in the dark. This little structure, this little light, is positioned close to the fish's mouth. Other fish are attracted to this light. They think it's something small they can eat, so they swim straight toward it. And that brings them close enough for the anglerfish to capture them and eat them.
Using the examples of the eel and the anglerfish, explain 2 types of adaptations that help animals survive in the deepest parts of the ocean.
So, all right. So now you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response.
Okay.
Okay. So now you may start your response.
The lecture was about the adaptation that some deep sea animals had in order to survive the deep sea waters of the ocean. After introducing the topic, the professor tell us about 2 examples of this adaptation. One being an eel that has a bigger mouth and a stomach, a mouth and a stomach bigger than other parts of its body in order to allow it to eat bigger prey. And the second example the professor illustrates is of a fish that has that emanates light from organ hanging off from his head in order to lure other animals and allow him to eat them.
Okay, nice. So I love you how you're managing your time. It was a very short introduction and 25 seconds for each one. They were separated. So I really have nothing to say. Maybe instead of saying, the second one, the first one, take advantage of that and add some transitions. And remember, careful when differentiating the subtopics from the examples, right? Because the subtopics would be their ability to generalize, and the other one will be like their ability to adapt their body parts, I think. And then the examples are the anglerfish and the eel, because using the examples of the eel and the anglerfish explain the two adaptations. Those are the two. Careful there. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Is that okay? Do you have any questions, maybe?
No, the exercise is very clear.
Okay. So let's do another one. Okay. Okay.
Now listen to part of a lecture in a business class.
Today, we'll talk about how companies determine the initial price for their products. By that, I mean when they first introduce a product in the market. There are different approaches, and today we'll discuss two of them. They are quite different, each with their own advantages. One approach, or strategy, sets the initial price of the product high, followed by a lower price at a later stage. Why? Well, when introducing a new product, companies want to build a high-quality image for it. Products that cost more are believed to be of higher quality. So, during the early stages of the product life cycle, companies can make very high profits from consumers willing to pay more for a high-quality product, and although consumers know that prices will eventually go down, they are also willing to pay more to get the product sooner. This approach works very well with, innovative high-tech products, for example. Now just think about when video recorders or video cameras or even cell phones first came out. They were very expensive, but then they became much more accessible. Another very common strategy sets an initial price low. Now this happens when the market is already saturated with the product, and the strategy is to undercut its competitors. Say there's a newly starting computer maker trying to gain market share. So what do? Well, they offer a computer at an affordable price, lower than existing brands. By doing this, the company appeals to new consumers who weren't probably even interested in getting a computer, and, well, of course, to existing consumers who might now be tempted to switch brands. Now, how does this company make profits with its low-priced computer? Well, one thing that's often done is to encourage their customers to buy accessories also manufactured by them, like printers or software, for example.
Using the points and examples from the lecture, explain the two pricing strategies described by the professor.
Okay, so 30 to prepare.
Teacher, determinar, it's determine. How do I say it in English?
Determine, just like a
Determinate. Okay.
no, not determine, just determine.
Determine.
Like, yes, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so please, you can start now.
The lecture was about pricing strategies and how the companies determine how the price they put on their newly edged products. after introducing the topic, the professor gave us two examples of these strategies. One being putting a high price in order to lure the customers that want a quality product and get the product sooner as possible. For example, for instance, a newly cell phone, they have a higher price, and then they lower the price. The second strategy that mentioned is an opposite one. It's starting with a lower price than the rest of the market in order to compete with the other companies. Okay, I need more time.
Okay, so yes, just trying to summarize maybe a bit more. Remember that the usual amount, the usual length of your sentences should be like one here and one for the example. And sometimes you can even summarize the example. So if you have explained what this strategy is about at the beginning, so describe setting the price low, which attracts customers with the idea that they have a high quality product. So for instance, you could just say this happens with high-tech products such as cell phones. And then the professor illustrated the same here, just one sentence. So setting the price high with when the market is saturated in order to compete with other brands. And then you mentioned just something here. Okay, so try to keep it to one sentence for each part, even if it's a long one, but just one. So maybe just that. Careful with your reporting verbs as well. Remember, they should be in the simple present. So the lecture is about, and if you're gonna say the professor gives us an example, it needs to go with the third person, right? So gives us, tells us, careful with those.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't know, is everything okay? Any questions about this one? I think you actually got it. So it's just maybe timing that you're missing, but the first one you did just fine with time. So just summarizing.
Yeah, I just need more practice. I got stuck with an idea given the first example of the strategy, and I don't know. I get like overwhelmed with ideas, and that's when I got I missed the time.
Yeah, it figures. So yes, you really like to kind of elaborate your ideas, which is good. It's going to be useful for like the first task as well. But here you're going to have to leave some things behind. So check out the timer, make sure to look at it. And yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll have one more session, by the way. So I'll see you then.
Okay, teacher, I have a question. When are we going to have the exam?
The last simulation test, you mean?
Yes, and then the top.
You can do it at your own time. So it's up to you completely. You could do it this week. It's not gonna be like everyone in the same room or something. So
when I finish my speaking sessions, then I can schedule my simulation. I can do it myself, but the actual TOEFL exam.
That's up to you as well. So you need to register for the test, and then check your. So yeah, you need to go to the ETS webpage, and you can register there. So okay. Yes, and there you're gonna have some dates to choose from. I think that if you take the home edition one, then you can decide. I think you got more options, and if you decide to take it at a test center, then there's very specific dates. So you should probably be checking it out by now.
Okay, I'm gonna check it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, teacher. See you next week.
Bye-bye, see ya. Hi, Fabricio.
Hello, Andrea. Good afternoon.
Hi. Okay. So today we'll be practicing task 3, which is the one where you need to read something before you identify what the definition of that concept is. Then you listen to the lecture and you just need to summarize everything. You remember how it was?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I think I do. Usually it asks you for what the lecture said more than the reading, right?
Yes, exactly. So the reading is just your intro and then you move on to the lecture.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. Okay, so here's the reading. Remember, you'll have 45 seconds to read.
Okay.
Okay. Now listen to the lecture.
Okay.
Now listen to part of a lecture on this topic in a psychology class. Let's take an everyday example. An ordinary round plate like you'd find in a kitchen. If you hold the plate directly in front of your face and look at it, what shape do you see? A perfect circle, right? Suppose you tilt the plate to a different angle, to a horizontal position, like you're planning to put food on it. Still a perfect circle? No. The circle is now stretched out, flattened into an oval. Do you conclude the plate has actually changed shape, or that it's a different object, not the same plate? Of course not. It looks different, but we perceive it as still being the same. Here's a different example. This classroom we're in, it's fairly large, right? Now, from up close, from the front row, I appear to be relatively big. Bigger than if you were in the last row, right? But let's say you're sitting in the front row today, but tomorrow you're sitting in the back row. From back there, I'm going to look smaller, but you don't think I've actually gotten smaller. You don't think you're seeing a different professor, a guy who looks like me except he's smaller. No matter where you are, up close or far away, you understand without even thinking about it that I'm the same size, the same person. Explain what is meant by perceptual constancy using the examples provided by the professor.
Okay.
Okay.
So 30 seconds to prepare now.
Okay. Oh, I kind of forgot what was the topic. Well, the name, I know the topic, but it was perceptual
Perception.
constancy.
Yes, exactly. Perceptual
Okay.
constancy.
Okay. Thank
Okay. Okay. So please start now.
Well, perceptual constancy is the ability to recognize objects despite external conditions. In the lecture, the professor explains this with two examples. The first one being the position of a plate, and where where he says that if you see it from the top of it or in an horizontal way, it should have different shapes, but you will recognize that it's a plate. And the second example is seeing him in the first line of the class or at the back of the class. He maybe uh, look smaller or taller, but even though we will be recognizing the same professor.
Okay, perfect, perfectly done. I love how you're managing your time. So it was 10 seconds for your intro and then 25 for each example. Both were well explained. I like that you didn't get into the details, you summarized them. So no comments really. Maybe try to add transitions instead of saying, the first example or the second one, just, to start or furthermore, moreover, those really help. And the same as you go,
Okay.
but however you recognize it's still the same professor. Maybe just that.
Okay.
Well done.
Okay. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks.
So let's try and think. Okay, so here it is. Again, 45.
Okay.
All right.
Now listen to part of a lecture on this topic in a psychology class.
Okay, the first kind of memory, we're all very familiar with this, right? You probably remember what you had for dinner last night. You have a conscious memory of last night's dinner. So if I ask you, what did you eat last night, you could tell me. But these other kind of memories, implicit memories, they work differently. Let's take an example from the world of advertising. When you're driving along a highway, you see plenty of billboards, roadside advertisements. You certainly don't remember them all, but they still affect you. Marketing researchers have shown, well, to be specific, let's say there's a billboard on the highway advertising a car called the Panther. The ad shows a big picture of the car, and above the car in huge letters is the name of the car, Panther. A lot of people drive by the billboard. But ask those drivers later if they saw any advertisements for cars, and, well, they'll think about it, and a lot of them will say no. They honestly don't remember seeing any. They have no conscious memory of the Panther billboard. So you ask these same people a different question. You ask, you ask them to name an animal starting with the letter P. What do you think they'll answer? Do they say pig? Pig is the most common animal that starts with the letter P. But they don't say pig. They say panther. The billboard had an effect, even though the drivers don't remember ever seeing it.
Using the example of the car advertisement, explain what is meant by implicit memory.
Okay. Now you'll get 30 seconds to prepare.
Okay.
Okay. So you may get started now.
Okay. Well, the reading explains about two different kinds of memories. The first one is the explicit memories that are, well, it's information that is acquired in a conscious way, and the implicit memories that are, memories that are that have gotten into our minds in an unconscious way. The professor explains this with an experiment about an advertisement that shows that some of the things that we live are conscious in our memories, but in the advertisement they show a panther. They mention a panther, but they don't recognize the advertisement. They just remember this animal, and that was because of the implicit memory.
Okay. All right. So what do you think about your response?
I think I took a little bit, well, it took me more time with the introduction.
Okay.
It was kind of difficult to explain the first part. And yeah, I ended up like rushing the example that the professor gave.
Okay, so yes, exactly. That's it. That's the only thing. And I think it might have been because, in this case, yeah, that's true. In the reading, we got an explanation. Even in the lecture, we got two examples. Like the first one about last night's dinner, and in the reading, we also have this thing about explicit memories. Even the title. But if you look at the question, they're just asking for one of them, and that's the one that the professor focuses on as well, right? Implicit memory. So sometimes you will have that, like verbal and nonverbal communication, another one that I've seen, or passive and active attention. There's just one that matters. So in this case, you could have just focused on implicit memories, and catch that implicit memories are unconscious recalls of things we've unconsciously perceived, and then you got example. So then you can explain a bit, like elaborate maybe a bit more on it. So that's the only thing, okay? Careful with that.
Yeah, I now I'm thinking that I could say something like, there's two types of, well, the problem for me was that there was two definitions, one was the explicit memories and the other one the implicit memory. So right now I'm thinking that I could like do the definition in just one, like one is unconscious and one is conscious, and period.
Yeah, that will be shorter. But yeah, anyhow, it's mostly about implicit memory. I think they give like some context so that you can understand better what implicit memory means. So in order to understand better, maybe you do have to know what explicit one is. But in this case, it's not going to be that important if you don't explain that one. So,
Yeah.
Okay. But anyhow, I liked how you summarized the example and how you also showed how it's connected to implicit memory. So, I mean, you made it in time. The only problem is wasn't that explained as it could have been, but you made it in time. So, well done.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mauricio. So I don't know if you maybe have any questions.
No, I think the strategy to like get a structure of what are you going to say, it's like pretty well understand. So yeah,
Okay.
it's okay.
All right. Then. So I'll see you in class.
Of course.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Tomorrow, right?
Yes, tomorrow. I think your course is about to end, your GERD. So we got like this week more, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. It's until October, but so until Friday it will be the class.
Probably. I think, I'm not sure, but let's check it.
Okay.
So, okay. Where am I? Okay, so it's supposed to end, yeah, on Friday.
Oh, okay. So Friday is the last. Tomorrow is our last class.
Yeah, with me, but you'll have practice
Mhm.
session with just finding Friday.
Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, wow. Times go fast.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So I'll see you then. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Okay. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Good evening, teacher.
Hi there, Gaston.
Hi, teacher. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
Hey, nice teacher.
Hey. Well, during these speaking sessions, what we're going to be doing is just work through the speaking section. So you know that we have 8 sessions and we have 4 tasks in the speaking section, which means that we're going to be taking 2 sessions per task. So today and next one will be about the first task and the second, well, the third and the fourth about the second one, and so on. Okay?
Okay. Okay, teacher.
Now we know what to do in the first one. We've seen this in class. You get the question. So you read the question. It's usually about your opinion, your preferences. You read the question. You're given 15 seconds to prepare and later 45 seconds to speak. You remember?
Okay, yes, teacher.
Okay, that's great. So then let's start practice. Okay. So this will be the first one for today. So we have, okay, like this. So we have, which one do you prefer? To buy the newly released product as soon as possible or to wait for a while and then decide whether you want to buy it or not?
Okay, sorry, teacher. What is the meaning of newly released product?
It means as soon as they release the product, so as soon as they throw it, like when it's completely new, is something that they're creating for the first time, kind of. So the new product, basically.
Ah, okay. Okay. It's not only a one product. It's in general, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever product you want to think about. It says an e-product, so something that you probably buy online, I'm guessing. But the thing is, do you prefer to buy things as soon as they are released, so as soon as they are out in the market, or do you wait for a while and then think about it?
Okay.
Okay. So now you'll have 15 seconds to prepare your response.
Okay.
Okay. So please, you may start now.
Okay. Okay, I think I prefer to wait for a while and then decide whether I want to buy or not, because I think usually people bought things with their um, feelings or for some, I don't know, things, but they don't think what is the real reason to buy things. So I prefer to wait.
Okay, all right, so nicely done. Okay, so what I could say is, okay, so first thing, grammar, careful with some words, like for example, the tenses that you're using. If you're gonna use it all in the simple present, make sure that all your verbs are like that, so people usually buy products instead of buy or instead of bought, right? Careful with that. Also, vocabulary, if we're talking about products, try to say products instead of things. And careful with unvetted questions as well. So they think what the reason is, right? Instead of what is the reason. Careful, maybe you can practice that. Now, with your response, maybe I would try to have my argument a bit shorter. So I prefer to wait, maybe because it's cheaper. So I could maybe one sentence and explain that. And then if you could give an example, that would also so you could say something like, for instance, there's this new Apple Watch, or I don't know, computer that's been released, and it got cheaper as time went by. Okay, so something short could be, but if you could be a bit more specific, that would be great. Okay.
Okay, teacher.
Okay.
So what is the correct form to say the sentence bought or buy? People bought or buy?
I mean, bought is the past of buy. So if you're
Okay.
talking about the past, then you could say people bought this product 10 years ago. But if you're talking about the present in general, so people tend to buy, it would be, right? Because it's in the simple present.
Okay, teacher. Sorry, in this case, I really don't know what to say, and that's the reason, but thank you.
Okay, no worries. Usually you will find that type of question like about buying things or your preferences on how to buy them or when to buy them. So yes, maybe that's something you can also choose.
Okay.
You know, that thing about being expensive or things being expensive, that's another thing that I found. Like for example, this one, right? Would you prefer to go to this apartment that's cheaper or to go to this other one that has this other thing? Okay, so that's another thing. So you maybe when I relate that to finance, or yes, I prefer buying cheaper things because I'm saving for the future. So that could be your argument for like everything, you know, so no matter what you have.
Okay, teacher.
That okay. So okay. Okay. That one. Okay, this one here. This one is okay. Explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statements. Children should not be allowed to play video games. Then give specific reasons. So should they be allowed to play video games? 15 seconds. So you can go now.
Okay. I think that statement is I agree because I think children's for today could be change their activities or their entertainment. I don't know. They could be I don't know, play sports or read books. So I think that statement is correct because I think that the children for today aren't living in the real world.
Okay, nice. So you had that argument, that's good, and you explained it. So children could do other activities. They could play, they could read books. They are not living reality, you could say. Okay, nice. So, okay, so what can I say about grammar? Here are some comments. So check out modal verbs. So for example, could doesn't always need be, right? So children could play, could read, could do. So you don't have to say could be playing. You could say could be playing, right? With the ing. So that's another option, but could play is fine. And
Okay.
careful, children and child, right? So children and child. Children is plural already, so it's okay if you don't add the s.
Okay, teacher.
And one tip for everything, try to practice and look for alternatives for words like because and I think, those expressions. So you could say, I believe, I consider, or if you ask me, or as far as I'm concerned. or I don't know. There are many other expressions that you could use. Okay.
Okay, teacher. I have to work with my vocabulary.
Yes, that's gonna improve your vocabulary a lot. Okay, so let's go with this one here. College. This one is, oh my, is it time already? No, I think we got one more. So let's do one more before we leave. So,
Okay.
hi, Daniela, do you can give us 1 minute, please? Okay, I think she's connected. Hi, Daniela, do you think you can give us 1 minute, please? And I'll be with you in a sec.
Hi, teacher. Yes, no problem.
Okay, so this is the longest one. College students should be required to take general education courses. Do you agree? So 15 seconds. Okay, so you may go now.
Okay, I am agree with the statement because I believe the education now is very different at the past. So we need more specific education for some people and other education for other people. So I think the school or the university could change their traditional education. Yes, that's all, teacher.
Okay, all right, well done. So I noticed you used other words, so I believe you your mode of verbs were better, so could change. Nice. Careful at the beginning with the verb agree. So it's not I am agree, just I agree. And don't forget that you may want to consider giving an example as well.
Okay, teacher.
So I'll see you in class.
Okay, teacher. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
No worries. Hi, Danila, you there?
Hi, teacher. Yes.
Hey, thanks so much. So what we're going to be doing very quickly during these speaking sessions is just go over the speaking section. So since we have 8 sessions and we have 4 tasks in the speaking, we're going to be taking 2 per question. So today and next one will be about the first one, the third and the fourth about the second one, and so on. So is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. So today we'll start with the first one. We know what to do here already. We've seen this in class. It's the independent one. And here they'll be asking about your opinion on something, right? So you read the question and then you get 15 seconds to prepare and 45 to speak. You remember?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. So we'll start now. Okay. All right. So let's start with this one here. This one goes, explain whether you agree or disagree with this statement. Children should not be allowed to play video games. Then give specific details. Should they? 15 seconds to prepare. Okay. So please, you may start now.
Okay. I agree about the children should not play video games. First, because is a lot of distraction, and a lot of children pass the time and they don't do their homeworks. So I think that it is important to control the time to play video games.
Okay, nice. So you like your argument? It's a distraction for children and they could, skipping other things. Okay, so maybe one thing you could do, because I noticed you were explaining your argument, try to give an example as well. And you kind of did. So if you're saying it's a distraction for children, and that's your argument, right? So I agree with that statement, since video games are a distraction for children. And then you could say, for example, or they may, and then you could say, so what's more, they may be forgetting to do other things that they need to do at their age. And then you could say, for example, sometimes they forget to do their homework. Okay, so that thing that you said about their homework could work as an example of what of the things that they forget or that they decide not to do because of the video games. You know what I mean? So that could work. And I think, grammar was good. At the beginning, careful the way you're starting. I agree. When you have agree or disagree, I agree. But the preposition would be with. So I agree with the statement that children should not be allowed. However, you don't need to repeat the statement. Sometimes it's going to take some time. So you could just say, well, I definitely agree with that. Okay, and that's fine. Or something like that, but you don't necessarily have to repeat it.
Okay.
All right. So now let's do another one. Okay. So this one here. So this one goes, explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. There is such a thing as love at first sight, which means that you can tell in the first 30 seconds of meeting a person, okay, I think we got it, of meeting a person, whether or not you will be able to fall in love. Then give specific details in your argument. So basically, do you believe in love at first sight? Why or why not? Okay, so 15 seconds to prepare.
Okay, teacher, what mean sight? I can hear you. Sorry.
So sight means vista in Spanish. So love at first sight is amor a primera vista.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So you may start now.
Okay, I agree with that because I think that some people fall in love in the first time because the physical part is important, and maybe when they know, they fall in love in the first time, I think, and that.
Okay. So what do you think of your response? What do you think? I mean, is there anything you would like to improve? I don't
know. Sorry, teacher?
What do you think of your response? So is there anything you think you're struggling with?
Oh, yes, my response is very short. because I forget some words, maybe.
Okay, so vocabulary maybe, and
Yes.
ideas as well. You know, it's just that you maybe try and look for some ideas and some vocabulary as well. For example, relationships is another topic that you could find, like relationships, maybe technology. The thing about the video games, for example, you could say, yeah, I don't agree because children should be familiar with technology and it has disadvantages and they learn more and more and they need to be, I don't know, they're the future, so they could create or they could be more creative. I don't know. So technology, maybe here you have something, you know, the advantages and disadvantages of technology in children, in people in general. And here you have something about relationships. So I don't know, look for some vocabulary to like love at first sight, for example, it's an expression. So look for some vocabulary regarding to this topic. Maybe you could say, yes, because physical attraction is important. I think that's what you meant, right? So physical attraction, and then maybe you have some ideas on that. Okay, so maybe that regarding the response, maybe try and change these words like because and I think. So you could say I believe, or if you ask me, or I consider, or as the way I see it. I don't know, many expressions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So now let's do another one. Okay. Here we have okay, so this one goes, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? If you want to succeed in business, being outgoing and friendly is very important. So is it 15 seconds? Okay, so you may go now.
Okay, I agree because I believe that being friendly is very important to get success in business. So I think that the success get when people is more extroverted extroverted and this get that people know more people.
Okay, all right. So yes, in order for you to get to know more people, you need to be outgoing. Okay, so what I could say is, you know, in order not to maybe be so repetitive, try to focus mainly on why. So you're saying, I agree with that because, or since, try to say other words of since or for, I believe, I like that you said that. So since I believe it's important to be friendly and outgoing in order to be successful in business. But you're kind of repeating the same question, right? And then you're saying, so it's again, you know, being outgoing makes you this. So try to mainly focus on why. So why is it that being friendly is important in business? Maybe, and what you had at the end was great, you know, because that allows you to meet new people, and maybe that people is the one that are gonna maybe you need to negotiate with them. You need to, yeah, maybe for negotiations or something, or for getting in the network, people from the same area, the same industry, maybe. Okay, so try to focus on those reasons. When you're preparing, try to think of that one reason that you're gonna mention. So why is it important? Is it because you meet people, because you negotiate, because you get well known? I don't know. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Let's do one more. Okay. So this one is agree or disagree again. Do you agree or disagree with the statement that experienced doctors are better than, okay, sorry, experienced doctors are better than young doctors? So experienced doctors versus young doctors. Okay, so you may get started now.
Okay, I disagree because I believe that both have good experience because the young doctors do practice in the university and ¿se cortó? Teacher, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Sorry. When they finish the university, they work in hospitals too. So I think that both have a good experience and yes.
Okay, nice. So it's true what you're saying. However, I would say it's better if you just go for one. So try to choose between one of the two. So you could say, I disagree. I think that young doctors are better because they are just as experienced as old doctors are, and maybe I don't know, they have more enthusiasm because you can explain the way that they practice, when they are in med school. So they do practices, internships, or they have their residence there. Okay. So just try and go for one of them. However, I really liked your response this time.
Okay.
Okay, Anina. So see you tomorrow. Yes, in class.
Okay. Thank you, teacher. Good night.
Bye. Hi, Andrea. You there? You there? Hello? Are you there, Andrea?
Teacher.
Hi. Okay. All right. So can you hear me?
Doesn't work. Yes, I can hear.
Okay.
I can hear.
Okay, so what we're going to be doing during these sessions is just practice speaking. We got 8 sessions and 4 questions in the speaking section. So that means 2 sessions per question. Today and next one will be about the first one, the following one, and the following one will be about the second one, and so on. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so today we'll start with this one. You know what to do. You get the question, your opinion, your preference. You get 15 seconds to prepare the response and 45 seconds to speak. Any questions before we start? Do you remember?
What is this is the question?
This will be the first one, yes. So this one is, explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. Children should not be allowed to play video games, then give specific details in your argument. So here's the question. You will have 15 seconds to prepare.
Okay.
Okay, so you may start now.
Okay. I think that children learn everything that they see. And the video games, I think that it is the way that they can learn everything, including bad things or good things. And I think that some games are good and other games are really bad for them because sorry.
Okay, all right. So that's true. I agree with everything you're saying, but careful, you need to actually answer this question. Agree or disagree that children shouldn't be allowed to play video games. So if you say I agree, then you're saying that they should be allowed. So why? Then you need to tell me why video games are good for children. And if you say that you disagree, you need to tell me why video games are bad for children. Okay, so that's how that you gotta go. Always make sure, even if it's not agree or disagree, even if it just, so what's your opinion about this? Even then, you need to choose one side. So are video games positive or negative for children? That's yours, okay?
Okay.
So your response. So make sure that you have a short intro in which you answer the question, because you started right off with your argument. So children learn everything from what they see. So make sure that you have something that says whether you agree or disagree. You could say, well, I definitely disagree with that statement, or I don't think that children should be allowed to play video games, or I don't believe, maybe. Okay, so try to look for an intro, and then you tell me why. So since they learn everything and video games are just a waste of time, or they have violence, or maybe you could say that they are good and they teach them about technology and they have to be familiar with technology. Okay?
Okay.
So, and also have some ideas about technology, its positive and negative effects on children, on people, on society, on the environment. It's important. What else? Look for some words for bad and good, like positive, negative, favorable, unfavorable. I don't know. And one more thing, sorry. Children and children's, remember, right? Children is already plural. So child is the singular one and children is the plural one. So there's no children's. Careful with that.
Okay.
Okay, and so one more. This one here is a belong. It goes, explain, agree or disagree. There is such a thing as love at first sight, which means that you can tell in the first 30 seconds of meeting a person whether or not you will be able to fall in love. Okay?
Okay.
So 15 seconds. All right. So you may start now.
Okay. I'm disagree with this because for me it is impossible to fall in love from somebody just in a few moments, few minutes. I think you have to know the person for much time. Maybe some people fall in love, like it says, but I think it is really difficult to fall in love at the first view.
Okay, nice. So this time you really explain why, because you have to know the other person. Okay, so maybe again, you have your claim, right? I disagree because, and I like that you took it personal, because for me, it doesn't work that way. I have to know the person. So I love that. But try not to add the counterclaims, like disclaimer. Maybe some people do it, but don't add that. Just leave it with it's impossible. If you have to be like close-minded in this case. So just say, well, I disagree because personally I need to get to know the person. And then maybe you can give me an example. You can say something like, for instance, I don't know, there was this time when I had this boyfriend that I didn't really quite know that well, and it didn't work. Or maybe, I don't know, right now I'm in a relationship and it's taking me a while to fall in love with that. Okay? So something like that could work. But well done. Careful with the verb agree, disagree. You don't need the verb be. So it's just I agree or I disagree without the am. I am disagree, it would be wrong. And careful with comparatives as well. You have to know the person for more time or for much more time, right? Comparatives. Any questions so far? Everything okay?
Yes, it is okay, but sometimes when I going to speak, I have too much ideas in my head, and when I have to speak, I lose.
Okay, yeah, but it's just that you get used to it. Try to get one of those, make it short, and then add an example. So if you can, I don't know, 2, it's usually better with 1, but let's try. So this one here is agree or disagree again. If you want to succeed in business, being outgoing and friendly is very important. Is it? 15 seconds. Okay, so you may start now.
Okay, I'm agree with with this because if you want to have a business, you have to be a outgoing person, extroverted. You have to speak a lot, because if you want to send the product, you need to convince the person that is going to buy the product. Instead, if you are shy, it is too difficult to do that.
Okay, love that. So now you had a nice argument. If you want to convince the customer, careful with vocabulary, business vocabulary, products, consumer, business, I don't know. Okay, or a businessman. If you want to be a businessman, then you need to convince the customer to buy the product. Okay, so you won't do that, or otherwise, that's another word that you can use when you want to compare. So this is what you need to do if you want to be successful. So otherwise, which means like on the other hand, if you're a shy, so also otherwise, if you're a shy person, you won't be able to convince the consumers. I like those arguments. I like the way you explain them. Careful, you really want to focus on that. So at the beginning, if you say, I disagree, because you have to be outgoing to be successful in business, then you're just kind of repeating the same argument. You know what you have here, and that's not your reason, that's your argument. So you just say, well, I disagree, or I agree, since, try not to say because, since in order to sell the product, you need to convince the customer, so you need to be an outgoing or friendly person. And otherwise, if you're shy, this will happen. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Careful with I am agree. Again, you could say I'm in favor or I'm against. Not I am agree. And finally, the last one, agree or disagree, experienced doctors are better than young doctors. We'll see, 15 seconds. Okay, so you may start now.
Okay. I am a little disagree with this because I think that young doctors are could be better because they study recently and they could do many things that the experienced doctor. Sometimes when the doctor is too old, sometimes they made some mistakes.
Okay, nice. So I see you're there. So it was better, you explained it better, you had more ideas and they were more organized, maybe use transitions as you go. So what's more, sometimes all doctors make mistakes. So those transitions will be helpful. But I love your response. So careful at the beginning. I am a little disagree. I am a little against, or I disagree, or I disagree. Okay, but not Don't forget about the verb be with that verb.
Okay.
Because I think, let's try and change those words. So since I believe, or as I consider, or as I don't know, the way I see it, because, or since the way I see it, young doctors are just graduating or just graduated from med school. So they have more enthusiasm or what have you. Okay, so just that, those tiny details, but I think you're getting there.
Okay, teacher.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi there, Anna.
Hi, teacher.
Hi. So during these speaking sessions, we're just gonna practice the speaking part. You know that we have 8 sessions and we have 4 questions in the speaking section. So we'll be taking 2 sessions per question. That means that today and next one will be about the first one, the independent one. Then the third and the fourth will be about the second one and so on. All right?
Okay.
Okay, so today we'll be working on task 1. You know what to do here. We've seen this in class. You get the question about your opinion, your preferences, your lifestyle. You get 15 seconds to prepare and then 45 seconds to answer the question. Is that okay? Any questions?
It's okay.
Okay. So this will be the first one we do. This one goes, explain whether you agree or disagree with this statement. Children should not be allowed to play video games. Then give specific details in your answer. Should they? 15 seconds. Okay, so you may start now.
Okay. I am agree with the children not will be all the time in the PlayStation or the video games or maybe that things because they need more I don't know exercise or run or bicycle, but the TV, the play, the games, that things make the mind of the children, I don't know, more dumb. I don't know.
Okay, all right, hold on. So you had good arguments, like an alternative for them and why it's not good for them, okay? So about your response, at the beginning, careful with the verb agree. Remember, it's not I am agree, it's just I agree. So I agree or I'm in favor Or yeah, you could just say, yeah, I totally agree with that. You don't have to repeat the argument, another thing, so you don't have to say, I agree with the statement that children shouldn't be playing video games. Because that's gonna take some time, you know, you're gonna waste time there. So you could just say, yes, I totally agree with that, since, and then you go right up to your argument. I don't know, they should be doing other things instead, like, and then you could say, for example, use your transition, exercising or running or riding a bicycle. So the things that you mentioned could count as examples. So just say, for instance, these are the things that they could do instead. And then you have another argument, you know, what's more, make sure that you add that transition. So what's more, or furthermore, video games make deteriorate their mind or something, okay? So maybe that structure is one thing you could be adding to your response. Careful, it will be those things, right? When you're talking about plural things, so those things instead of that things. And yeah, another thing, you know, technology, video games, make sure that you have some ideas, some vocabulary for that. It's positive, it's negative effects on children, on society, on the environment, I don't know. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
All right. So the following one is agree or disagree again. There is such a thing as love at first sight, which means that you can tell in the first 30 seconds of meeting a person whether or not you will be able to fall in love. Let's see. Okay, so you may go ahead now.
I am not agree with the law with the first slide. I think you must meet the people. I don't know, go out to the world, to the talk with the people for feel something. It's not just the appearance. It's the people need to meet the end of the other person. Maybe I don't know how can I say the word. Compartir more experience. I don't know how can I say that.
Share more experiences, say share.
Yeah.
To share more experiences, more time. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Okay, nice. So yes, you had your argument. I don't agree because you need to get to know the other person, talk with the other person, or I don't know. Don't forget that you could try and add an example, you know, take it personally. You could say, for instance, I like to talk to people, or I like to talk to, I don't know, and try to get to know the other person, or there, you could tell me a story, you know, once I had a boyfriend that I didn't know that well, so this happened to me. Okay, so maybe an example, something a bit more specific. Okay. Careful with I am not agree. You could use other ones if you want, like I disagree, or well, I'm not in favor, or I'm against, or I don't like this idea, or I don't favor it, I don't know. But never say I am not agree, okay? I don't agree would be. And also try to look for alternatives for things like I think or because. So I believe, I consider, the way I see it, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. And because, since, for, as, due to the fact that, I don't know. Okay, so some comments. But well done in general. Okay. And also relationships, another quite common topic. Now, this one here goes agree or disagree. If you want to succeed in business, being outgoing and friendly is very important. Is it? Okay, so please start now.
I am in favor that is important that if you have your business, maybe if your friends or if your friend have the business, you can help in this case, maybe talk with other persons for me the business that your friend, and you can go to buy things dependent of the product that your friends is buying.
Okay, all right. So like I see you have some business words, the product that your friend is selling or offering. Okay. However, make sure that you get the question right. I'm not sure if it was about your friend having a business, but it's like if you want to be a good businessman, if you want to be successful, if you have your own business, do you think that it's important to be outgoing and to be friendly? So friendly means like I'm like, I don't know, extrovertido, like to be outgoing, like to be extrovertido, to be friendly, amigable. Do you think that's important if you want to succeed in the business world? Okay, so that was the question. So
Okay. sorry, I don't understand the question.
Okay, no worries. But I think I like that you started a different way. I'm in favor. You avoided that grammar mistake. Careful with person and people, right? Persons doesn't exist. So person, people, and also some business vocabulary will be good. But that's okay. And next one is agree or disagree. Do you think that experienced doctors are better than young doctors? Are they? 15 seconds. Okay. So you may go now.
Okay. I definitely prefer the experienced doctors than the young doctors, because the experienced doctors have more time in the work, have more experience, and the young doctor, I don't know, are more actuality in the time, but the people in this time is more I don't know, how can I say, all the time sick. So all doctors or experienced doctors have more experience in that things.
Okay, that's true. They have more experience in the field, you could say. Okay, so, okay, nice. So I like how you kind of compared like what's good about experienced doctors and what's not so good about young doctors, because that helps back up your argument. Okay, nice. Okay, careful with some grammar. People is plural, so people are more, I don't know, people are more experienced, or people are more, I don't know, whatever you want to say it. So are. And also the use of the indefinite, the. So usually if it's about something general, the way you see here, right? You don't have something like the experienced doctors or the young doctors, because we're talking about doctors in general. So young doctors in general, not just one young doctor. So in that case, you just keep it that way. So young doctors have less experience, they are more enthusiastic, or they I don't know, they haven't been practicing for the long. And experienced doctors know what they're doing, they do things better, I don't know. All right, so just careful with that. And yeah, I don't know if you have any questions about anything. We've seen anything to say?
I don't have.
Okay. So I'll see you tomorrow in class then.
Okay, teacher, thank you. Bye,
Bye-bye.
teacher.
Hi there, Valeria.
Hi, Alexandra.
Okay. So what we're going to be doing during these speaking sessions is just practice the speaking part. We have 8 sessions to work on the 4 questions. So we're going to be taking 2 sessions per question. All right. So today and next one will be about the first one, the third and the fourth about the second one, and so on. That okay?
Okay.
All right. So today we'll start with the first one. You know what to do here. You got the question. You read it. It's on your opinion, your preferences. You get 15 seconds to prepare and then 45 seconds to speak and answer the question. That okay? You remember?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. So here's the first one. This one says, agree or disagree? Children should not be allowed to play video games. So do you agree with that statement? We'll have 15 to prepare.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
You explained something, but I didn't hear anything. And it said my internet was slow. Now
Oh, okay. So I'm saying this is going to be the first one we'll do. So this one says, children should not be allowed to play video games. So you need to tell me whether you agree or disagree with that statement and try to give at least one reason. And if you could, one example as well.
Okay.
Okay. 15 seconds to prepare. Okay, so you may start now.
Okay, children shouldn't allow to play video games. Shouldn't be allowed to play video games because they can use that time to do another useful task, because some people say that you waste your time playing video games, and that cannot be useful for the children in that period of time, and they can play outside better.
Okay, right, great. So you have a good argument. Children would be wasting their time if they play video games, so they could do maybe other things instead. Don't forget, you could give an example. So you could say, for instance, instead of playing video games, they may be studying or, I don't know, doing physical activity or something like that, okay? Or reading or something. So you could try to mention something a bit more specific as an example.
Okay.
What else? Careful with children. Remember, it's plural already. So children shouldn't be there, just children or child, which is singular. Okay, like what you're saying, you waste your time. But try not to say people say that you waste your time. Try to say like you were saying it, like it was your argument. So I believe that you waste your time when you play video games. Okay?
Okay.
So maybe just that, but I think you're there already. Okay. The next one, and remember, check out some ideas, some vocabulary about technology and its effects on children or on people in general, positive and negative, so you can have something there. Okay, now the next one is, again, agree or disagree. There is such a thing as love at first sight, which means that you can tell in the first 30 seconds of meeting a person whether or not you will be able to fall in love. So do you believe in love at first sight? Why or why not? 15 seconds. Okay. So please start speaking now.
I don't believe at love at first sight. To begin to love someone, you have to know them in a real way. Their how and what that they believe. For instance, in what that they believe, what they like to do, and other things. I believe that real love cannot happen in the first 30 seconds that you meet someone. And I'll give you the reasons why. I gave you the reasons why. Sorry.
Okay, all right. So try not to refer. I mean, right now, yes, you're kind of speaking to me, but in your test, you're not going to be speaking to anyone. So just say, so maybe that's why I don't believe in love at first sight. Okay. So I like that you're using this transition. So to begin with, remember to begin with, in order to love someone, you need to know the real them. And then I like that you gave examples. So for instance, love that, what they believe in, what they like to do, how they are in this, and that. Okay, so great structure. I think that was a good one, even though it was pretty short, but still, it made a good response. So I wouldn't really change anything. Hold on. Okay, game relationships, another topic. Now here we have, do you agree or disagree with this statement? If you want to succeed in business, being outgoing and friendly is very important. So is it important to be friendly if you want to succeed in business? 15 seconds. Okay, please start now.
I believe that being friendly it's important to succeed in business. First, you can make a lot of friends that can give you a lot of good point of view of a new business, or can and with those friends you can have access to a lot of works and a lot of opportunities to improve your own business. So that's why I think being outgoing is the best way to success in business.
Nice. Okay, well done, Valeria. So perfect. You had your conclusion. That's why I think being outgoing is important. Okay, and you had your argument. You're using other verbs like I believe. Don't forget, you could have an example somewhere, something a bit more specific. It would help. But overall, well done. I even grammar was good. Maybe pronunciation a bit. The word business, all the business words you need to try and check out.
Okay.
Well done. Okay, and also something else, and it's something extra. maybe you can also check out some quantifiers. So this, for example, a lot of, so because it's constantly used. So we can use other ones like maybe many or a bunch of or few if it's less. So check them out as well.
Okay.
Okay. So this one here is agree or disagree. Experienced doctors are better than young doctors. Is it true? 15 seconds. Okay. Please go ahead.
I think that experienced doctors are better than younger ones. One reason is that they have been studying more than the youngers. They have make mistakes and learn from those, and they have talk and work with more doctors and learn from them. So that's why I think they are better than the younger ones.
Okay, perfect. So this time you're making your responses longer. You had a lot of ideas. I don't know how you come up with them. And I like that you're using different tenses as well. Like they have been studying, they have made mistakes, they have learned, they have worked, and they have talked to other doctors. So that's really great, and it's really in the correct way because they apply. So those are like the experiences that they had as experienced doctors. So well done, good grammar. Maybe add some transitions as you go. So since you tend to give a lot of reasons, so they have been
the transitions for examples.
Yeah, but in this case, you didn't exactly give examples, but you kind of filled with different ideas, and that's great because sometimes when we have two or more ideas, they're kind of the same. So at transition zone, so they made mistakes. What's more, they've worked with other doctors and this and that. Okay, so add those transitions, and it would be great.
Okay.
And let's see. Okay, so here we have agree or disagree again. Well, students should have a job while they are studying in school. Should they have a job at the same time they study? 15 seconds. Okay. So you may go ahead now.
Okay. Students shouldn't have job while they are studying because the first reason is that they can, for instance, they have more time to study or to do more practice for their school or things that are related to what they are studying. So that's why I think students shouldn't have a job while they are studying.
So, okay, you had students shouldn't have a job. Make sure that you use one of, you know that it's about your opinion. So try to use one of these phrases, you know, something like I believe. I think I've showed you some, so try to use that one at the beginning.
Mhm.
I noticed you were saying because of since maybe or as, and yeah, nothing else.
Okay.
Okay, Valeria. So any questions before we go?
No. The previous questions about the younger doctors and everything, you told me some transition connectors.
Yeah, like to add more ideas, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you could say in addition, what's more on top of that, besides, also, what else? Farther, moreover.
Okay. Just
Okay.
transitions. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So see you tomorrow.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Hi, Josue.
Hi, teacher.
All right, so what we're going to be doing during these speaking sessions, just practice the speaking part. We have 8 sessions and, you know, we have 4 tasks in the speaking. So we're going to be taking 2 sessions per task. So the first and the second one today and the next one will be for task 1. The third and the fourth will be for task 2, and the 5th and 6th for task 3, and so on. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, and today we'll start with the first one. You have the question, you read it, you get 15 seconds to prepare and 45 seconds to speak. Do you remember how it went?
Can you repeat again?
Sure. So you will get a question. It's usually about your opinion on something or your preference about 2 options. And you need to analyze the question. You will have 15 seconds to prepare, so you can think about it, and then 45 seconds to speak. So you have to answer the question in 45. And you need to tell me one reason and at least one reason. And if you could, one example would be nice too.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with the first one here. It is explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. Children should not be allowed to play video games.
Okay.
15 seconds. Okay. So you may now.
Okay. I am disagree with this statement because I think children should be or can be play video games. For example, in the last year in the pandemic, a lot of children played video games. Sometimes you can use these video games like a way of something, for example, to learning speaking, to learning mathematics, to learning different topics. I think you can use the video games like a way to or for to education the children's.
Okay, nice. So I like that you gave an example you actually did. You had the transition there. So for example, this time of the pandemic, many children were educated with video games. Love that. Okay, so what I have to say, even though you're giving an example we just made, I love that, keep on doing it. Make sure that you also have an argument, you know, at the beginning. So you say, when you say, I disagree, then you're already telling me that they shouldn't be, or they should be allowed in video games. So you just need to tell me why now. So I disagree since they can help them learn. And then you say, for example, they learned during the pandemic, I don't know. Okay, so maybe just that. regarding the content. Regarding grammar, some some comments. At the beginning, the verb agree doesn't need the verb be, so you cannot say disagree. It's just I disagree, or I agree. I agree or I disagree. Careful, children and children's. So children is already plural, right? So child is the singular, children the plural one. So it's just children.
Okay.
Careful with modals too. So children can be play. It will be children can play, right? You don't need the verb be, so can play. And one more thing, a tiny thing, careful with gerunds. So for example, a way of learning, that's great. But then when you say to learn mathematics, to learn to speak, to learn to this, when you use to, you don't need the gerund anymore. So it's to plus the infinitive form, to learn instead of to learning. Okay? So maybe just that. Okay. So the next one, we have agree or disagree again. So there is such a thing as love at first sight, which means that you can tell in the first 30 seconds of meeting a person whether or not you will be able to fall in love. So basically, do you believe in love at first sight? And why or why not?
Okay, I start.
Okay, now you can start.
Excuse me, can you show me again the statement, please? Yes.
Sure. This one. Okay. It's about love at first sight. Do you believe in that? Okay. Ready?
1 second, please. Okay.
Okay, so you can start now.
I disagree with this statement because I think when you feel love in the first date with a girl, probably it's like attraction. It's not a real love. Probably it's like a attraction. It's like you like the physical of the girl, but you don't feel a real feeling for this girl. I think you need time to know the person personally, and probably that's the best way to have a good relationship.
Okay, nice. All right, I like your response. So I like the way you're explaining things. And I like those conditions as well. So if you think you're in love, then it's probably just attraction, you feel. And then try to use transitions as you go. So on the other hand, or if you are in order to really fall in love, you need time, you need to get to know the other person. So try and use those transitions, play with them as you go. I think grammar was great. I didn't really notice anything. I see you changed the way you started. I disagree, nice. Nothing to say, maybe some phrases like because I think we can try and avoid something like since I believe or since the way I see it, it's just attraction or you need time. Okay, so there are some phrases we could use there. Since, for, as, for because, and I believe, I consider, the way I see it, or if you ask me, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Now the next one, in relationships, another thing. For example, here, technology. It's important to have some idea, some vocabulary about technology, its positive, its negative effects upon children, upon people in general, upon our social skills, society, the environment. And here we have something about relationships, again, pretty common. So now let's look at this one. If you want to succeed in business, being outgoing and friendly is very important. Is it? Do you agree or disagree with that? You'll have 15 to prepare. Okay. So you can start now.
Okay, I agree with this statement because probably if you want to have more more satisfaction, or probably more, yes, more satisfaction with your business, I think you can open, it's necessary, you can open your mind and learn to know different people from different culture. For this purpose, it's important you will be being outgoing and friendly. That's all.
Okay, great. I like that closing idea. So for this purpose, it's important to be, or it's important that you are friendly and outgoing in business. Okay, so you had a good idea. If you want to be maybe more satisfied with your business, you need to open your mind, be friendly, outgoing, meet people. Okay, great. Okay, maybe something a bit more specific would also be nice. Like, I don't know. Maybe you could...
I practice the grammar every Sunday with my private teacher, but because I don't practice every day this, I sometimes forgot.
That's fine. I think you actually have good grammar.
And now for this month, for October, I leave one word, and I focus in this object, in this purpose to approve the TOEFL. But I want to more than improve. I want to feel of I need to have more grammar, or probably have a good speaking of the English.
Okay, but I'm totally sure you can get there. So you're in the right way. So you just need to practice. It's everything. It's just about practice. Getting yourself immersed in the English language with everything. From
for example, I travel many times to United States. I don't have a difficult communication, but I want to, probably in Spanish, I want to say, necesito poder pulir más mi idioma, ¿me entiendes?
Yeah, I got you. So yeah, it's gonna take time. It always does. But yes, it's perfectly possible, and I think you can do it. It's just, as I was saying, just practice. And yeah, I know it's hard when you're not really there, but it's possible. So since you travel a lot, as you say, you've had that experience of practicing with natives and everything. But you can also do it, from home where you have the internet and everything. So yeah, I think you can definitely do it. Just keep practicing. And I see, I don't know, as you say, I think you have a really good, you can communicate easily with people. So you feel comfortable as well. The way I see it, I think that, you feel confident when speaking. So that's a really good start.
Thank you.
Okay, Josue. So I don't know if you maybe have any questions about this first task.
I have a question. I want to know if, for example, these topics you only have in the class in YouTube, or you have like a summary of this in the drive or something like that for practice.
Like you mean practice sets, like practice questions, or in general the content of the course?
Yes, the content of the course. Sometimes because I really understand. Sometimes I have difficulties with the audio, but I really understand the course. I like it so much because you have like a schedule for this, but I want to know the schedule for practice more to the class, you know?
Well, I have I don't really have something like so elaborated and, everything put together, but I do have some links or maybe some resources, some material that can be helpful, especially for practicing, for the theory and the tips and everything else. I just use the presentation, this one here. But for practicing, like for example, this one here, this type of questions, or the other ones, because to be honest, this one here is quite easy to find. We have a lot of them online, but the other ones, maybe the writing part, the integrated writing or the integrated questions. So maybe I can send you some links or some resources to find, practice. Another thing, by the way, in the in the program that you're supposed to run to do the first simulation test, you got like 5 complete tests there. So you can also use that to practice, because it's like, I would say, if your objective right now is to get this done and to have a good score in the TOEFL, practice is going to do a lot, an active practice. So you need to evaluate yourself, how you're doing, especially in the speaking and the writing. So you can use that program to have these complete tests, and you can practice there as well. But yeah, if you want some links, because sometimes, yes, most of the websites or the programs that you'll find to practice this are usually paid ones, like Magoosh or Test My Test. But I do have some sources that are for free, so maybe I can send that to you. Yeah, that'd be okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay, so you're in the group, right? So maybe I can send the links there.
Yes, I am in the group, in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, okay, so I'll send some links there. Okay, Josué. Any other question, any other thing?
No, I really understand. Sometimes I confuse with the audio, yes. But I think I try to understand. I really like.
Okay, that's great. All right, then, Josué, so I'll see you tomorrow in class. Have a nice night.
Thank you, Andrea. Have a good night.
Thanks, bye-bye.